Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDL44 coming at you with another video. So, the Los Angeles Lakers just lost a very, very important basketball game to the Portland Trail Blazers, sending us into the seventh spot, basically lodging us in there with the play-in games. So, we're looking at play-in games possibly against the Golden State Warriors and the San Antonio Spurs if we happen to lose that Warrior game. And that's assuming we don't lose out, as to which we may find ourselves outside the playoffs altogether. This was a bad loss. I didn't see any highlights from it, so I'm not going to talk to you about the game. I'll check the highlights out later if I decide to. I really am not too thrilled about just overall watching highlights when we don't have our full spectrum of players, particularly without a facilitator, because I don't like basketball when a facilitator isn't on the floor unless you're running the box or running triangle offense, because it just looks like a bunch of, I don't care how talented your offensive weapons are, if they can't create for others, then your ball movement's going to be messed up. And if your ball movement's messed up, chances are it's going to translate to your defense sucking. So I've watched so much basketball over the years, played so much video game basketball over the years, to where some stuff is just like I don't believe I really need to see a whole lot, because I just kind of believe I understand what the scenarios are for various situations that take place on the floor and with your team. They're all the same when it really comes down to it. Even though every game is different, every game is nuanced, circumstances in regards to the league tend to just repeat themselves a lot of the time, and this is no exception. The Los Angeles Lakers lost this game because, quite frankly, they don't have their full spectrum of players. LeBron James is back from injury but did not play in this game, and let me take my hat off. I gotta figure out how I want to word what I'm saying. When guys are coming back from injury, sometimes the NBA or teams, I don't know who makes the decision, but sometimes teams think it's best for guys to miss back-to-backs. They think it's best for guys to not play in certain games, so they can get in the shape they need to get into and work themselves back in. But I don't necessarily agree with that as it pertains to LeBron James, because I listen to LeBron James talk about himself, his body, and what he says is that he needs more reps, not more rest. And I trust that a man knows what he is, who he is, and what he can do. If you tell me your body's best if you keep moving and it sucks for you when you sit down for any length of time or get out of your routine, I'm going to trust that. And that's exactly what LeBron James has been telling us for the past couple of years. Like, yo, I need more reps. I don't need rest. I get rest. My body likes to move. It's what it's here to do. I'm here to do what others can't, move. And so I just didn't agree with sitting him tonight. I didn't, especially with AD playing out there, having had back spasms and a little tweak of his foot last night. He went back out there and played, gave us 30-something plus points, had a pretty solid game. Just looking at the stats, but Bron wasn't out there, and it was a very pivotal game. It's the this is a playoff game for the Lakers. Basically, our playoffs started tonight because of an obvious situation of what I told you about at the beginning of the video, with us being in the play-in situation. This was a playoff game. And unless LeBron had some setbacks, which I'm not aware of, I didn't agree with him not playing out there tonight. I really didn't. When I made the video that I made yesterday, I have to be honest with you guys. I should have just deleted that freaking video. The reason why I should have deleted that video was because, first of all, one of the things I have to come back and correct with you guys, and I'll be the first one to tell you I'll be making mistakes. But the first thing I needed to correct was LeBron James was already back from injury. I was speaking as if he was still working his way back from injury. He wasn't. He's already back. So that was one part. And the other part was, because I haven't been paying attention to the standings as closely as I should be, I didn't realize we had this big-ass Portland play-in game that was coming up. So I failed you guys as an analyst yesterday. I really did. I listened to that video. I'm like, bro, you are so way off. Not necessarily in how I'm viewing things, but in terms of the urgency necessary and why it's so important to press the panic button. Once I started hearing the facts about the play-in games, scenarios, and how close we are to the end of the season, I just didn't realize my perspective on how far into the season we are in was so off. So, yeah, completely was wrong. If you go back and watch that video, just understand that I'm like, yo, just like you saying, does this guy know what he's talking about? I said the same thing. And probably should have deleted it, but for the sake of just being a flawed individual and embracing my flaws, I'm going to leave that very, very flawed video up there And thank you guys for watching it. But yeah, no, I had to correct that. LeBron is back. He should have been playing. There was no reason for him not to be out there. So, and that's not withstanding the idea that, of course, there's a reason. The reason is because he's working his way back from injury. But when you consider that he's already been back, he should have. This was a game that you don't miss. This was a game you don't miss. So we lost this game. We got another one against Phoenix. Probably gonna lose that one if Bron don't play. We got a very tough schedule. 5 more games left. And to be honest with you, I think it's a good chance we only win like 1 or 2 of them. My opinion about the play-in games and the situation in regards to that stays the same. I'm not worried as much about the play-in games as most people are, because I don't. How do I phrase this? This is gonna sound silly, but I don't fear the play-in games. And I may have mentioned this already, but if the Lakers were to miss the playoffs, I'm gonna be devastated for what it means to us not winning the championship, etc. That would suck. But I'm of the mindset that this is one of the few drafts in recent memory where no matter what pick you have in the first 15 picks, it's worth something really, really, really good. And, my mindset is always either we're winning a championship or we're building to put ourselves in a position to win one next year. That's my mentality. I don't believe in making the second round and getting ousted. I think that is a wasted year. And I know that people will say, what the hell are you talking about? But my thing is, I would rather have a lottery pick that's going to help my team for many years to come, or the value of the lottery pick that I can turn into something that'll help me for many years to come, than to just lose in the playoffs, get my heart broken, and people say, hooray, he was third loser, fourth loser, or whatever it would be if you lose in the second round. I'm sorry, that doesn't move me as much as getting a lottery pick and preparing for the following season. I personally, as a fan and as a basketball mind, would much rather have a lottery pick than just make the playoffs and get fizzled out. Now, that sounds ridiculous, but this is coming from somebody who's watched his team win. How many championships do I have? 6 NBA championships in my lifetime. So when I say that I'm not interested in making the second round, I mean that. I mean it. I have no interest in just getting to the second round and getting ousted. I've seen many seasons that way with my team. None of them made me feel good, and I end up watching the draft saying, damn, that player will look great in purple and gold, then proceed to watch those players turn into something special that ends up being competition for us later on. I'd rather have the pick. I'd rather have the opportunity at the pick, especially with an old team that you can't really get a whole lot better with because you have 2 superstars making a lot of money. One of them's 100 years old. The other one's injury prone. Like, we need assets. And if we're not winning the championship, which I don't have us winning anyway, then I don't care if we make the playoffs. I'm that fan. I don't believe in moral victories. I don't believe in feeling good about making the playoffs. I don't care about the damn playoffs. I want to either have a chance to win the championship or have a chance at the next best talent the league has to offer. Those are the things that excite me personally. Like, just honestly. Now, if I'm in a different situation, if I'm, say, Minnesota, I don't think that way. If I'm New York Knicks, I certainly don't think that way. You see what I'm saying? But as a Laker fan with 17 NBA championships and 6 in my lifetime, that's exactly how I feel. And with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the special circumstances that we have, yeah, for sure. I want the pick. I want the pick. So you guys have to forgive me for being that type of fan. Everybody's pushing the panic button on this season. Yeah. But I have so much that I can appreciate from the circumstance that comes with us failing, unfortunately. I just love the draft. I love the prospect of having the next great possible talent, maybe. And there's no guarantee that pick or turn into anything. It might be a bust. It may not be a pick that we keep at all. We might trade it for something I'm not happy about, and suddenly the pick didn't hold its value because we didn't get the right stuff in place for it. So it's a lot of things that can go wrong. You don't want to take what I'm saying as what you should be thinking as a fan, because that's not the real shit. This is just how I feel as a Laker fan this year with our circumstances. So I wanted to make that absolutely and utterly clear. But yeah, no, I mean, play-in game. The thing about the play-in game is this. We would have to lose to Golden State if we stayed in the 7th spot. We would have to lose to Golden State, and then we would still get another opportunity to play whoever's after that. So it would probably be either San Antonio or Memphis. So I don't think the Lakers miss the playoffs and get a lottery pick. I don't think that. Even if I was a bad fan and that was what I was rooting for, I don't see that playing out that way. I just don't think the Lakers, especially with AD and LeBron James, are going to have a one-game play-in situation. First time LeBron's ever had one in his life, and he's supposed to lose that game? Yeah, right. Here is the truth, and I may sound like Nick Wright when I say this, but we do have that dude on our team. Like him. That guy, the guy that everybody knows is the guy, he's on our team. And after however many years it's been, almost 20 years of watching him drag Eastern Conference teams much worse than this to the finals with circumstances, in some cases, similar to this one, if not worse, I just expect it from him. Yeah, I know this is not necessarily how it plays out, and smart money does not bet on this, but if LeBron James somehow wins the championship from the 7th seed, I'm not going to be surprised by that. I'm not. Because he's the boogeyman of the NBA. Everybody fears him. A lot of people can say, oh, Kevin Durant's the guy. No, Kevin Durant's not the guy. Kevin Durant has beat the guy a couple times, but he ain't the guy. I personally think that might be some of the part of the problem with the chip on his shoulder and why he is the way he is, because he's not the guy. He's close, and he's way better than everybody else, but he ain't that dude. He's not that dude. He shoots better than that dude. Don't get it twisted. I have KD over LeBron in a shooting contest every day of the week. But his basketball IQ, his ability to affect the game, to facilitate and create for others, making other people better and things of that nature, nah, he's behind Bron on that. He just simply is. Strength, obviously, physicality, he's way behind Bron on that. It's not even close. We know that. Durability, 18 years, barely getting hurt until now. Right now, Bron is 36 years old. Now he's starting to have injury issues. Sorry, y'all. I love KD's game. I don't think there's anybody better than KD not named Bron. But Bron's better. So, with that being said, I still think there's a great, great possibility that the Lakers do the impossible here and still win it all. But there's a lot of things we have to work out, and we don't have any time. Simply run out of time to do so. We have 4 games left. We are still undermanned. We don't have Schroeder coming back within the next 3 games. This is about to be awful. The play-in situation is going to be a very hectic game for the Lakers. And though I expect us to beat the Golden State Warriors, we could lose to the Warriors and might find ourselves playing Memphis and San Antonio, as to which I would expect us to beat those teams. I would definitely expect us to beat either one of those teams. So, if I'm a betting man, I say the Lakers are making 8th seed. I don't want to say that we're going to lose to the Golden State Warriors, but a part of me thinks that's going to be a very tough game to win. It really is. Steph Curry's a madman, and Draymond's having a career year. And I think without Wiseman, I have to look at their team. But just in theory, if I'm just thinking about what I think a basketball team looks like without their center down there, I think they probably are a faster team. They probably don't rebound as much, but they are probably built to play small ball, probably more so than they were built to run with a guy like Wiseman. So I think the Golden State Warriors might, in theory, be solid right now. I'm not going to say they're better without Wiseman, but I think that they can run some stuff that'll make it a lot easier for them to get shots up quickly. And Steph is playing like Steph Curry. So you have to deal with that man. If he goes off for 65, 70 points in that play-in game, we will just sit there and look, because ain't nobody going to be surprised. Certainly won't be me. So that's the kind of thing you're hoping doesn't happen, but it's certainly the type of thing that can take place. We're talking about a real NBA champion, a dominant player with an opportunity just like LeBron has. So that has potential to be something very special. Yeah, man, that is the gist of what I got to say. I'd have to watch highlights to know exactly what happened, but I am listening to people talk to me about the team and how they look tonight. Drummond played awful. Kuzma was 1 for 10, just about the worst game he's ever played, and so on and so forth. Trez couldn't even get on the floor. Was he even available tonight? I mean, we're totally botching the Trez thing. Hey, look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know we're in an impossible situation because we have 3 centers and none of them are perfect. All of them are flawed in very, very, very messed up ways. But we have got to commit to something at the center spot. We have to commit to something. Either we're going to go back to the Marc Gasol stuff and then bring Trez and Drummond off the bench somehow, or we're going to go the Trez route and just let him be undersized, and when he runs into a guy like Jokic, you sit him down, you bring in one of those two. Or you just ride it out with Drummond because you know he's the most talented of the three, and you just figure out the spacing, which seems to be utterly impossible because he doesn't stretch the floor nor shoot free throws very well. And he's playing poorly and he's not in shape. So it's a lot wrong here. And to be honest with you, to think that we've acquired a center this talented and still have center's issues really speaks to just how far away we are from having a good, cohesive unit. 3 talented centers and ain't none of them what we need. It's just like, what can we do? That's the part that seems to be frustrating. But I have to temper my thoughts and calm down and say, look, until LeBron James and Anthony Davis are out there and Schroeder's out there, we don't know what we have in Drummond. Drummond is running a system that is not the system that he was brought here to run. He's playing a role that is not the role that he was brought here to play. And because we just don't have our guys, it's all very, very, very messed up. It all looks bad. It all is bad. So that is what us Laker fans and even some of the people who are not Laker fans who are paying attention to our team, we have to just believe that and know that and embody that truth while we're watching this team struggle. Because we are missing the pieces that make Drummond better. LeBron James is the piece that makes Drummond better. In theory, LeBron should be able to make Drummond get easy shots up, make it so that Drummond's in position to do the things that he does, take pressure off of Drummond by creating another offensive superstar threat that they have to, obviously run at and create opportunities to pay attention to. It's a lot of things that LeBron should help Drummond with. But how can we ever work ourselves into any type of rhythm when we never, ever actually have everybody? So I don't know if it's a win, if there's a win to be found in this, honestly, because you could look and say, well, I want to blame the NBA for their COVID protocol and all this bull crap they got going on, pulling players out at random. I think it's just awful how they've done him, Schroeder, De'Aaron Fox. It's been several players that down the stretch, who else? Zach LaVine. There's been certain players who have just been removed from their teams because of this mysterious COVID protocol bullshit. And because of it, you have the seeding and everything going on with the league affected by this. You're talking about the Chicago Bulls who were their trajectory was headed up. They had just acquired Vucevic. They had just gotten the Gafford, all that deal, that, they had gotten the pieces they were looking for. Kobe White starting to pick it up. He's starting to find his confidence again. But Zach LaVine gets removed, and now they're losing all these games. They're out of the playoff hunt. And they were in the playoff hunt before the COVID protocol. So if I'm a Bulls fan, I'm blaming the league. They literally took away my playoff hopes. And I feel similar about the Lakers and their championship hopes as it pertains to Dennis Schroeder. Even though he's not as important to us as Zach LaVine is, to the Bulls, he's still extremely important to us in what it is that we do, and we're not winning without him. And so this is just one of the situations where I would love to blame the league for that. Obviously, the circumstances, the ecosystem of COVID has created this for us, so we can be mad at the universe. But I just wish the NBA would stop this COVID protocol bullcrap. I'm not for it. If a guy doesn't have COVID, put his ass on the basketball floor. Okay? Can we seriously? Let's not do this. This is not last March or April when we didn't know what we were dealing with. We didn't have a vaccine. We didn't have all this stuff that we've worked into our regular lives. We know how to manage this COVID virus at this point. We know this is a year and a half later almost. We know what we're doing. There's no reason to not have basketball players on the floor when they're not hurt. Period. Okay? That's where I'm at. I know you guys want everyone to take the vaccine, and I believe, personally at this point, and I've said this already, that the only reason why they're doing this is because they want these players to take the vaccine. And that's a reasonable desire. But the methods from which to force them into doing so, removing key players from playoff teams or potential playoff teams in hopes that these teams would just say, okay, as a unit, we're just going to take the vaccine so we can get rid of this nonsense. I think that's unfortunate, That's the word I'll use. It's unfortunate. I don't like it. So yeah, man. That's what I got. Lakers in trouble, but it's all kind of looked at from a certain perspective. Once you get your guys back, then we can really assess how much trouble we're in. But if nobody's coming back, then we're definitely in trouble. So, hey, I don't have us win the championship anyway. Y'all know that. I got the Nets winning the thing. But the Nets got the same problems the Lakers do. Either they're going to get their full spectrum of players on the floor, or they're going to have a rude awakening about how quickly they can turn that switch on and off. I'm going to tell you right now, since we're talking about the Brooklyn Nets, I'm going to say this right now. They are in as much trouble as the Lakers because they don't have James Harden. But Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant been getting their heads knocked off. They've been losing games together. They've been out there killing too. Kyrie been balling his head off, 45 plus. KD's giving you his 30s, doing what he's doing, and they're losing. They are losing. Okay? So keep an eye on them Nets because even though they are able to find players who have been able to be effective for them on their playing roles, they've done a great job of finding something anywhere and everywhere on their roster. What they have not done is to improve their defense. What they have not done is found a way to get all three of those superstars on the floor at the same time. What they're doing is hoping that because we're so great and because we're so smart and because we're so highly motivated together, we think that once we get on the floor as a trio, we can destroy everybody. But what you're going to find out is it doesn't work that way. Basketball don't work that way. Why? Because there's 6 fouls for each player. That's why. If you don't have your cohesiveness down there with your 3 superstars running amok and any of them get in foul trouble, you're going to find out that having the ability to blow teams out like you're used to is not going to come as simple in the playoffs because teams are going to scheme against you. KD is going to have walls thrown at him. Kyrie Irving's going to find different schemes thrown his way. James Harden's going to have to deal with schemes and all different types of stuff from game to game to game. It's not going to be easy to just turn on the switch just because you're superstar talented. You ain't played all year together. The Clippers went through this last year, and the Nets are not. I repeat, the Nets are not a better team than the Clippers were last year as it pertains to the rest of the bench. Yes, do they have better superstars? Of course. But the rest of their bench, in comparison to last year's Clipper team that fizzled out and had a similar type of thing going on where they didn't play everybody all year long and thought they were going to turn it on, yeah, they had a better role-playing set of role players than the Nets do this year. So take that for what it's worth. And with James Harden talking about he going to just turn it on, he only needs a game to get right from his injury, you've been out for weeks. You know, KD been missed half the season. Kyrie's been in and out of the lineup with all different types of stuff that ain't got nothing to do with nothing we understand. I'm telling you, I still have the Nets win the championship, but this is a recipe for disaster over there in New York. It's a recipe for disaster. When guys are so damn cocky and so damn talented that they think they can just turn it on overnight. I've watched enough basketball to know it doesn't work that way, especially with a rookie coach. Y'all gonna find out, though. Y'all gonna find out. So, yeah. I don't want to say that I don't think the Nets are going to win the championship because I've been screaming they win the championship for the last 2 months. So I'm not saying that they're not. But the writing is on the wall for a major, major, major upset. I'm talking we believe Warriors versus the Dallas Mavericks type of upset. You remember I said that. I don't think anybody in the Eastern Conference at the 8th or 9th, 7th, 8th seed, whatever, is good enough to beat the Nets by any stretch of the imagination. But you remember what I said. It's set up real, real nice for them to get knocked off early. My name is BDF44, and I'm out.